Welcome to 2018, TruckThat episode number 4. We're going to have a real focus on rest areas. It's going to be a lot wider in industry magazines, and we're here at the first northbound green reflector marked informal truck bay on the Olympic Way north of Albury. Now, many of you will know of what used to be originally the blue reflector marking of informal truck bays. It was started in 1999. Now, I'm sure that you'd be happy to give me an A for persistence. Here we are in 2018. So 19 years now I've been involved in trying to mark spots just like this, an informal bit of dirt, so that a driver who's buggered, who might need 15 minutes over the wheel, he might need a pee, he might want to pull up and check his straps, he might want to get out and walk around the truck and just freshen himself up. And he needs that because he doesn't know where the next rest area is, he's not sure, he might be on an unfamiliar road. And of course, a bloke that knows this road would quite often know this bit of dirt's here. You can see from the blue metal on the ground behind me and the piles, this is often used as a stockpile site. Now, those sites have good, solid footing. You know you can pull into them safely. Obviously, if it's been pouring rain for a week, you want to be a damn sight more careful. And that was one of the things that RMS held me up for so long. Their argument was, if we mark a bit of dirt with green reflectors and a truck gets bogged, we're going to be liable, we're going to have to pull him out. Now, my answer to that at the time was, okay, let's say 3 trucks get bogged in a year. If it cost you $5 grand to pull them out, that's 15 grand, that's bloody terrible. But if we save one life, and the current rating on lives, if you look at just the dollar value in road safety terms, is about $1.7 million. So that's the life of the person, it's the impact on their family, it's the impact on their job and the community and all the essential services that come out to clean up the carnage after the event, and none of us wants that. Now, we don't have enough rest areas. That's the first point. ARB did a study about 6 years ago. Not one of our major national highways meets the minimum standard for the number of rest areas required for trucks. And the intent of the green reflectors, as I say, blue originally, and it was blue because they matched our truck parking signs. After a number of years, Vic Roads and WA, who at this stage have done nothing to adopt the system, said they refused to use blue because they thought the fireys would get confused. Now, you and I probably think that fireys got a little bit more common sense. And we are not going to have an informal truck bay in the middle of Toorak marked with reflectors, and we're not going to have a green reflector bay in the middle of nowhere where there's going to be a fire hydrant and they're going to get confused. But they wouldn't accept blue. They said, you've got to change the colour because the fire hydrants are now marked with blue even more specifically. So we changed to green. We did a trial in Queensland on the New England and the Newell, and we've moved over to green. Now, you'll see eventually, we'll show you a bit further down the road, the intent of it is you're driving along, you're buggered. The new signage for rest area that shows the next 3 is a good step, and it's very helpful. And if you see that, you know, okay, well, I've got one in 25, I've got one in 50, but those signs are only recent and they've only been out in the last few years. And if you're driving along tired, you don't know whether the next rest area is 1 kilometre up the road or 100k. So this all came about. I was coming home from Sydney in a single tanker. I normally drive B doubles. I was buggered. I should not have been on the road. Now, driving along, as you go down the road and you're thinking, oh, there's a spot back there. I could have stopped there safely. If you've got 33,000 litres of petrol on, you don't pull up 2 inches off the fog line and go to bed. You don't go backing up the highway into that spot that you just saw. But if that was marked, and I said to the time at the RMS bloke that I fronted with this idea, I said, look, a bloke that knows the road knows it's there. He's gone past the village or the dead tree or the stockpile site, and he thinks, just up here, there's somewhere I can pull up if I need to. Now again, you'll be driving along, if there's a bloke right up your backside, You don't want to be driving along at 100 clicks and go, oh, there it is, and lock everything up and the bloke behind runs into the back of you. It's no good. So the intent of the reflectors, the guideposts are already in place. No money involved putting them up. We put then 3 now green reflectors on a guidepost a minimum 300 metres from the site. So on high beam, you pick up the 3 as clear as day. You've got plenty of time to say a bloke behind you, mate, I'm slowing down, I'm going into this informal parking bay here. Then goes 2, and then goes 1. And that last single reflector is on the last guidepost immediately before the site. So you're not driving for a K looking for it. You know, as soon as you see the single one, should be on the brakes, it's going to be right after it. Now again, you might need a pee, you might need 15 minutes over the wheel, but if you don't know where the rest areas are, then they're no damn good to you. Honestly, I hope that in a number of years' time we don't need to mark informal sites with these reflectors because we've got enough rest areas. But there's a long way to go. This is an interim measure. I've had blokes say that I saved their life. That they were driving along tired, they were looking for somewhere to stop, they saw the blue or the green reflectors, they pulled up, they had to walk around, they had 15 minutes over the wheel, and they then made it safely to the next formally marked bay. But you and I both know you can drive past the bay feeling as good as gold and 15 minutes down the road feel buggered. What do you do then? You've got to have somewhere to stop. Now, if we had enough rest areas, we wouldn't need these bays. If the rest areas were designed properly, they had decent shade, they had parallel parking so you can open the bunk door out into the scrub and not have the bloke beside you tear it off in a herringbone designed bay. If you had decent shade in the rest areas so you could pull up at this time of the afternoon and get a reasonable kip because low circadian rhythm, that late in the afternoon can be one of those spots where you get that bit tired. Every one of us is different. Every one of us deals with fatigue differently. We suffer from it differently, and different days can be a different thing. And we all know you can go to work on a Sunday, having had 2 days off and feel buggered 2 hours down the road. You can have been driving for 10 hours and feel fine. But then it comes on you, I've got to pull up, I'm tired, where do you stop? So this is our first start point. This is a green reflector marked informal truck bay. The Newell Highway, thank you to funding from the NHVR, has just about been completed, and the next step will be a poster in the roadhouses making people aware. But we've tried to explain it. If you've got a question on it, if you want to know more about it, if you don't understand, then let us know and we'll try and help educate you, because we don't want you tired, we don't want you driving tired, and we want to help you. Back soon. G'day again. We made a big move, all about 2 kilometres up the road, to what is called the Henty Man Rest Area. Now, this site was originally a bit of dirt. It was a small car parking area, and trucks would use it up, and the council would then come along with a grader and put a great big culvert along the side so that we couldn't use it. Now, the reason that we wanted it is because we're now on the Olympic Way. There is not a signed truck rest area, other than this one now, from when you turn off the Hume Highway until you get to the other side of Wagga. And of course the problem with that is you come off the Wagga where there's hundreds and hundreds of trucks and there's really good parking bays till you get to here. There's an issue with Albury where we lost the end of the Hume Highway. The 2 truck stops that are in there, you can get about 8 or 10 trucks in if you're lucky, and then they're full, and where do you go from there? But you come off the Hume, lots of trucks, you turn up here, it's dead quiet, it's lonely, and you're a bit tired, and you've got to drive from the Hume right through the other side of Wagga, well over an hour, without a signed rest area. There is a bit of room up in Henty, there's a bit of a spot up at the Rock, but they're not signed, so if you don't know the road, you're not familiar with it, you don't know they're there. That was one of the things about the green reflectors, marking those sites easily, simply and cheaply. Now this is a signed bay. As you come in, you'll see our photo there. It actually says trucks and caravans to this side, and cars to the other. I've got to say, quite a few of the caravanners do have enough sense to park over in the car area. It's not a bad space for them. We've got excellent shade, you can see here in the afternoon. See, we had 2 B doubles on this side. The other side, if you were really lucky, you might get 3, but all you need is a caravana that follows the sign, comes up, parks in the middle. There's a set of tables and chairs here, there's a toilet down there, and he'll park close to them because they're getting old like we are. And when they do that, you probably won't get a truck either side of them depending on where they are. So we've come to the only rest area signed for trucks in well over an hour, and you've got room for maybe 5 B doubles. Now there's a damn sight more trucks use this road than that. There's nowhere else for them. It is signed from the other side of the road as well, so it is for both north and southbound traffic. And then you double the number of trucks we're talking about. So what we want to do is we want to push for more and better rest areas. There are more trucks on the road. There are more cars, and yet a lot of those cars will come to a truck rest area at night because they feel safer. So all the facilities in a car-only rest area go to waste every night. We can't get in and access the shade, we can't access the toilets, we can't access the tables and chairs. So then you've got all the caravanners, and there's more and more of them. They can't build the bloody things fast enough, and there's more of them out on the road, and yes, some of them go to a caravan park, some of them go and park off in the dirt, as you would have seen in our rest area video that we did explaining how and why we need them to park the right way. But in a site like this, if you are coming up here tired and you can't get in, what do? So we need more rest areas. We need them sited in the right places. We need them well designed so that this is what I call a divided road parking bay. So you can park on this side if you want the shade, that side if you want the sun. But you know what a herringbone one is, or a sausage sizzle, side by side. You can't open the bunk door, the next bloke will tear it off. You can't get any shade. You can't get separation. If you're in there asleep and the next bloke pulls up in a stock crate or a fridge van, are you going to get a 7-hour break? Now, if you only want 15 minutes and you're just going to have a pee and go, that's fine. No one's going to wake you up, doesn't matter. But when you're doing this here, when you want a 7-hour break, you want to have a suitable rest area. You need it in the right place. You need shade, because surprisingly enough, some of us actually sleep during the daytime because we've got to drive all night. The authorities simply don't recognise that either. So I'm starting a campaign in January. I've spoken to the trucking magazines. We're going to put this out. I'm going to go to the authorities and say, what are you doing? I'm going to specifically ask them that no informal bay or otherwise gets closed unless they replace it. We now have the national guidelines out being done for truck rest areas. Very soon you'll see the opportunity to put a submission into that. So we will have the chance for more of us to have a say. I've already contributed and had a long discussion and gone back and put even some further detail points into that. At the moment, of course, there is the EWD submissions are being called for, electronic work diaries. Now, those of you who have one, think they're a good idea, fine, put your views in. Those of you who disagree, and 2 things I'd ask you to consider. I'm going to ask that if they are going to count by the minute, that work time doesn't get rounded up or down, and that rest time be counted from a minimum of 10 minutes. Fair enough, 3 minutes is not a rest, but I think from 10 minutes on should be counted as rest. Have a look at the documentation. By all means, give us a call, contact us through TruckThat, through my site at TruckRight, and we really need your support to make this work. Now, I can put in a submission, 1 truck driver. If 100 truck drivers put in a submission to each of those, I tell you that we will get a better result, because they will see that blokes are interested, they will see that blokes are prepared to put in the time to actually have a say. Do you want better facilities? Yes. Do you want more? Yes. Will you help us get them for you? I bloody hope so. So, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, contribute, send us your views as to where there is a critical shortage of rest areas. And look, I've had blokes badger me about the Pacific. I know that's a problem, and I have raised it with the NHVR, the NTC, and with those that are doing these guidelines. So there is a lot of work to do. You help us, we'll help you, and we will all get a better result. Till next month, safe travelling.